Sup everybody. Today's video is going to be a mentality related video. I think mentality is very important because I think as humans, for any kind of success, we got to have the right mentality set up for it, because we all have a confirmation bias where we listen to the things that our mentality is set to listen, and we seek out information that our mentality is kind of directed us towards. So I think it's important that we have the right mentality to be set up for success. So what kind of mentality do I want to talk about today? So let me just start off with the how I thought of this idea. So basically, I've been seeing on social media that people are posting their healthy meals, and they're posting like their chicken breast and broccoli meals, and writing captions that they're proud of themselves. So that immediately led to a problem, because these people are the same people who are dreading the process, who are dreading eating chicken breast and broccoli. They don't love it, and they're the same people who would want like a piece of dessert or something, but when they eat it, they feel guilty. So clearly they're not enjoying that kind of life. And when you have to post your healthy meals, to me that's a problem, because it should be something that you enjoy. It's not something that you like, how do I say it? Like, it should be normal. It should be your life. It shouldn't be like, oh, I've done something. This is like a huge milestone. Like, if your nutrition is like that, then there's something wrong with it. Do you ever see like, somebody posting themselves walking and be like, hey, I took 100 steps today? Like, walking is easy, right? Walking is a normal thing. But if a toddler who's never walked before took their first steps, that's a huge feat. So yes, their parents would shoot videos of them walking for the first time. That's awesome. So if you're like so proud of like your diet, something's wrong with it, because it's clearly not something that you're used to. It's clearly not something that you like something that you can adhere to. It's difficult. It took willpower, and therefore you're proud of yourself. Now, of course, I'm generalizing. I'm not saying that you shouldn't celebrate success, but my point here is that they're not enjoying this chicken breast broccoli meal. Now, that's not the problem here. The problem here is that those people are the same people who've seen information, modern, more effective, more efficient, up-to-date science, logically organized information that's presented to them. And they're the same people who reject those information without even trying. And then when they do their old shit, they're complaining. Like, they do their old shit and they feel proud, but on the other side of the coin, they complain. They complain that that it's miserable, and that a bunch of willpower to do and discipline and whatever. They're complaining at the same time they kind of beautify their experience anyway. So that led me thinking, like why do people reject perfectly sound, logical things that make sense and they're scientific, evidence-based? Why do they reject that? And I came up with a few theories. First is that most people are risk averse. So that means they don't want to try new things. They're in their comfort zone, although not even that comfortable. I think they're like killing themselves getting to their goals. And whether or not they will get to their goal is questionable, because the process is so miserable that I'm not even sure they can stick to it for like forever. So they don't want to try new things, and that's the thing. Like sometimes you gotta question kind of the authority behind that information, and then kind of compare to yourself and ask, am I getting the results that I want with the way that I'm doing? Am I enjoying the process? Can I stick to it? Do I have my dream physique? Am I successful doing things my way? If not, perhaps you should try new things. Because to be honest, like this kind of risk is not even that risky. Like you're not gonna die from trying out a new diet or trying out a new workout or trying kind of like fitness and nutrition related ideas. You're not gonna die. There's not much risk involved. But people like to do the things that they've heard from the majority, or they've heard earlier in time than later in time. And second thing is that my recommendation is if you're a risk averse person, there are still ways to reduce your risk, so to speak. And for me, I think a way to do that is to keep learning. To keep learning new knowledge so that you develop better clarity. The reason why you are so risk averse is because you are unclear of the underlying mechanism behind how things, the way things work. So when you lack that clarity, the only thing you can do is to do the things that you were told, because you don't know why it works the way it works or how it works the way it works. That's like not understanding how multiplication works, and you're just memorizing kind of the answers to the multiplication. Like if somebody asks you, like, what's 3 times 4, you're simply memorizing that the answer is 12 instead of understanding what 3 times 4 means. And by understanding what 3 times 4 means, which is 4 of 3 adding together, then you can do any multiplication. You can do 12 times 20. You can do 13 times 14.6. Like, the power of knowledge allows you to have clarity so that you can answer and replicate results in other situations that were not told to you how to do. So keep learning, and keep in fitness and nutrition, that's science. So keep learning new science so that when you have a better kind of image of this whole thing, more clear of how things work, then you can be more certain that these methods or other methods may or may not work. So that's another thing. People don't learn. They're kind of just told to what to do, and they follow it like it's some sort of like rule, instead of learning kind of in a flexible way how it works. It's like you're following some sort of rule. So I think that's another reason why people reject new ideas, because here's an example. One of the most rejected ideas commonly seen is when I recommend them to try out intermittent fasting, meaning to skip breakfast. They're told all their life that breakfast is the most important meal of the day. And they follow it like it's some sort of law. So immediately when they hear that idea, they say, oh, I can't do that. Oh, that's not for me, I can't do that. Or if they're more honest, then they kind of question, like, isn't breakfast the most important meal of the day? Are you sure this is not, unhealthy? I mean, questioning is better, because then you can look for answers. But most people just reject without even questioning. They're like, no, like, that's not for me. Like, what do you mean? Like, you never even tried. What do you mean that's not for you? So that's the kind of thing, like, people don't like to hear things that are different from what they've taught. But here's the thing, just because things are different from what they're taught doesn't mean they're wrong. Back in the old days, I think I forgot the name, but a physicist basically kind of found that the Earth is round, when during that time the norm belief was that the Earth was flat. Now today you know that the Earth is indeed round, but back in the old days, it's like most people reject that idea, even though that physicist presented all the information given, all the math, all the evidence. People choose to, reject the idea. And I think that's just I think that's a huge disadvantage as humans to do that. There's nothing wrong with trying it out, is what I'm saying. Okay, we're not gonna die from trying out new fitness or nutrition ideas. And then that leads me to my last theory, or my last point. I think people people reject new ideas just gotta exit. Okay, where was I? Last point. I think people reject new ideas because the new idea doesn't sound good. It doesn't sound sexy. It doesn't sound right. People want to hear what sounds good, what sounds spiritual, what sounds motivational, inspirational, what sounds good. I'll give you an example. People love hearing, it's about discipline. It's you need lots of discipline, a lot of power, or like willpower, no pain, no gain, which is fucking not true. In certain parts, yes, but it's not necessary for every single thing. You should be, doing the no pain, no gain way, because that's just dumb. That's inefficient. In fact, you want to strive for that efficiency, that to get to same or even better results using more efficient ways. But people like to hear like those spiritual, those nice sounding messages. Things that sound good, like you are what you eat. I don't know, like eat green or something. It's just people, I guess people decide things emotionally rather than kind of logically analyzing if the information makes some goddamn sense. Like people like to hear, oh, you want a good breakfast to like kickstart your day. It's just tons of messages out there that sounds good, but just because something sounds good doesn't mean it's correct, doesn't mean it's effective, doesn't mean it's appropriate, doesn't mean it's right, doesn't mean it's efficient, doesn't mean it's the best way to go. I think people need to stop kind of feeling out what's right and do some learning, do some actual learning, and figure out whether or not it is actually right. Do some research, do your due diligence. Counting calories, for example, is not sexy. But drinking a wholesome, nutrition packed, nutrition dense smoothie, this green antioxidant, this antioxidant that, yeah, that sounds sexy, right? But here's the fucking fact regarding that topic. Oxidation happens no matter fucking what. That is the process of aging. Oxidation will happen in all your goddamn cells. And oxidation happens when you consume energy. And energy is calories. In food, we measure that with calories. So the best antioxidant to have is count your goddamn calories and consume less calories. Stop eating so much. That is the best antioxidant, better than your freaking avocado and blueberries. Because no matter how much antioxidants these foods have, they will never cancel out the calories that your body needs to process into energy. So, you know why Japanese people live the longest? Because overall, their diet is always in moderation. They're not consuming that many calories. So when you consume less calories, you live longer. Your body oxidate less. you're not gonna accumulate those oxidative free radicals. Did you know that? Yeah, that scientific information didn't sound sexy at all. It doesn't sound as cool as your freaking spinach, arugula, kale smoothie that, you know, fights oxidation and freaking, you know, sounds good and sounds healthy. It's the truth is not sexy. But often the truth is not. So you can ask yourself, do you want to you know, be ignorant and kind of just do the things that sounds good, or do you actually want to do the things that are actually good for you? If it's the latter, then you've came to the right place, because this page, for me, I recommend genuine facts that are actually good for you. So kind of understand these mentalities that are that may be causing you to not get real results, and you know, my conclusion is that be diligent in learning, accept new ideas that seem to make sense, and try them out, even though they're not the things that you normally do. And the final point is that understand that not everything that are correct may sound beautiful and may sound right and may sound good to you. You know, they may not be sexy. All right, so those are the things I want to talk about. Hope that helped. Take care, guys.